What's up? It's time for a late night hood story from your boy Arcino here. So let's get into it and let's talk about it. Yeah, you are first, and probably gonna be the only one with the notification factor. But here's the scenario. I know. And while the super chat is messed up and a little screwed up right now, you guys can go into the description box, click the link, and make a donation to the page and leave me private messages. I haven't checked mine in a couple of hours. I'm gonna do that right now before we get started. See if there's anybody in here. Uh, what's up, Sino? Just donating, but I have a question for you. Okay, now I already answered that on the last live chat. He popped up about do or die. So, what's good, Noah? I see you. What's up, Devontae Steele? Yeah, it's one of those videos that they don't distribute or put out of mine. Now, let's get into it. Since you guys are staying up late, now we tell you guys a hood story. A lot of you guys think hustling is selling drugs. Hustling is a lot more than that. Hustling is making it in off any little bit you can. And a hustler can make it work no matter what. So there were a lot of people making money off of doing licks in the hustle game. Was hustling to get copper, wood, and steel. Things that people take for granted. That was the lick, that was the hustle, that was the game. So certain crews was doing this, coming up with copper. If you had old radios thrown in the trash, they would go get that. People with pallets that they threw out, once they take stuff off the pallet, they would throw it in the back. They would break into places and steal the pallets and go sell them and make a ton of money off the pallets. People would get the steel from wherever they can and make sure it's pure steel and go and sell it. They got places that they would go to, facilities that buy them. Certain woods, they knew the difference between this wood because of a stamp and everything. So hustling was a business and they made good money. Now, a couple of gangs, this was their hustle. I was in a Spanish gang out here in Chicago making some moves and ran into a situation. I see you guys. Don't forget to make a donation tonight. I saw you. Make a donation. Click that link in the description box. I see you. If you didn't do it, you said you was. I saw you. You better put an apology message in there too. Telling that feel. So Anyway, to make a long story longer. So anyway, they joined the Spanish gang. So they're doing these licks. And in this Spanish gang, they require everyone to have at least a job. Right along with doing the licks, they want you to work. You got to get a job. You got to go ahead and do these certain things. They want you to cover all these bases. So naturally, this not really moving. This ain't blending into what everybody wanted to do. And they was like, okay, you don't gotta have a job, but when it's time to pay your dues, and we said where your money at, you better have it. Well, we ain't gonna put you to work over here with such and such. Like you gotta work the scrap yards and jump yards and see how much wire you can get, how much steel you can get. We ain't gonna be helping you out, doing this and that. We gotta pay people to give us the 411 on all this stuff. Yep. So anyway, let's just say, dude, finally has got his set. Guy, they put him on. He got his little crew. He started blowing up, started making his money. Then he started selling weed on the side. So he's got his little weed thing going. He ain't no big drug dealer. He's just average, making some money on the side, selling a little weed while he's doing this. Everybody's doing good. Now he's been promoted to a point where he's gonna have his own crew, his own spot. So they said, okay, well, get your crew together. So he grabbed his crew, he get his people together. And now he's got his people under him, this guy he training, teaching him the ropes. And he was like, man, you gotta, just be quiet. You got too much attitude. You had a lot of fire, a lot of mouth. So he's like, oh, he's young. I'm gonna help him out. This and that. That's how it's gonna go. So the guy was like, look, all right, cool. He's your guy, he's your crew. You do what you do. So he's teaching everybody. This is the only guy he got to work with all the time because this guy got a bit of a mouth, can't tell him anything. And he's been him before. He's like, look, I've been you. I was this guy. You got to calm down. Things are gonna happen for you. Not overnight. It's gonna happen for you though, but not overnight. Just chill, relax. You're doing too much. So he want to move up too fast. Now he's making $1,200 a week. He's mad. The guy that's teaching him everything, the guy whose crew it is, he's making 4,000 a week, and he feel like I'm doing all this work. This dude making like double what I'm making. Why is he doing that? How he the boss? I'm doing all this. I'm doing more work than him. How he the boss? So the boss, who don't have to explain to him, the guy who crew is running him, is telling him like, look, I'm the boss because I worked hard to get here. If you keep working, you'll get here. And then you'll have some people under you. That's how it works. Nah, man, I ain't finna be nobody's slave. So his 1,200 a week, he's complaining. He's crying. So he decides, I'm gonna go with my other buddy, make me some side money. So out of his little 1,200, he started going to parties, taking his girl out, started dealing with her people, and now he's doing H and moving H. That's heroin, people. So now he's doing heavy drugs and messing with heavy drugs. And people can tell like something's wrong with him. They thinking he's doing coke or whatever, but he's on that diesel. He's just reacting different, And they was like, he's something's wrong with him. This little your guy is off. Then he gets jammed up to a point where some people he was with he got caught with some heroin and whatever. He went nuts, did a whole bunch of crazy things, shot at his own crew, shot at the guy who was teaching him, and all this stuff came in and when he broke out and left, got in a red car. And there was some people in the car and he drove off. So because he shot at the guy who was the crew, who was running his crew, and the people he was with, who was his boss, and this was the guy that he raised, when they came to see him to find out and get the answers, like what happened, how did this guy do this? He shot up a place he shouldn't have. It's a violation of major proportions as far as gang went. So he shot at the boss, like the main boss. He went over at the boss that's training him. He shot at both of them because he was going off heroin. So he ended up getting arrested because he led the police on a chase that ended up on that show, Wildest Police Chase. I don't know if it's on YouTube, but it was on TV. His chase was on TV as he went through a couple of towns before he got caught, and they hit him with the doggone taser. They tased him with the doggone thing. He got out the car and everything. Could not get away. He came out, he was just tweaking and everything. When he was all out the car, they hit him with like 1,000 volts. So it might still be on YouTube. But anyway, he had shot at some people. And while he shot at some people and took off running, anyway, the guy who was training him and the guy whose crew, he had to go meet with the boss. So the boss came in to go see what was up with him. The boss came in like, all right, I'm going to go see what's what. The boss come in to see him himself. And he got 4 other people with him. And the guy was like, oh, man, like this, he know he gone. He figured, man, I don't know how this going to go. They finna jump me. What's finna happen? And he tells them the story. And he tells them what happened. And he was like, man, this dude, he just came in and started shooting. And he's like, he came in the door, he was complaining about money and he was tweaking. I think he was high off something. And he shot at me. He shot at you. I ain't had nothing to do with that. We'll take care of it. We're going to handle it. It's our problem. It's on us. I know a lot of you guys are bad. He messed up a whole bunch of money. He messed up a whole bunch of stuff for all of us. And it's a problem right now because people want justice. Let me go get it and correct that. But you know something? You know who I saw and what he got in the car with? He got in a car with the dude. He got in a red car. That's the same red car that was up there. What's his name? And such them. Yeah, remember that kid? Yeah, with such and such that went over there to their school and they was coming in on the territory. It's the same red car. He got in the car with them. They might have sent him as a plant. He's like, I seen the car. That's why I knew. I recognized that car. He's like, you sure it's the same car? It's the same car as dude. And because he said that, he didn't know it at the time. It saved his life. They were there to kill him. They were there to take him on a ride and take him out. They were going to take him out for bringing this guy in and everything. For messing up with doing all the stuff he did, shot up people's houses. He was going to get taken out. He didn't even know it. He found out later that they were there to take him out. If he didn't say what he said at the end, they would already be gone. I mean, he would already be gone. That's how close it was. And the guy that came to get him, his boss, they end up killing him a couple weeks later. So the dude that was coming to kill him, the guy who brought him in, his boss, everything, who brought the guys with him, they were there to kill him. Because one of the dudes was like, man, the thing you told, what's his name? Because, he was like, oh, man. Like he didn't even know. And then like 2, 3 weeks later, the boss over him ended up taking him out over something. They ordered that he was doing something. Whatever he was doing had nothing to do with dude. They ended up clipping him. So it was some major stuff going on that was problems that ensued with the guy. Now, when the police caught him, oh, he sung on everybody. He turned into Beverly Seals. He was in there singing and he didn't really know anything. He was just making stuff up. They was like, he made that up. He don't even know them people. He giving up stuff and he's making up stuff to go with it. So while he in there talking and all this stuff, the lawyers they had was like, oh, we're gonna throw this guy to the wolves. Because he wouldn't even know that. He wouldn't even know this type of information. He never really got in that good to even in the organization. He too busy crying about everything. So they was like, this dude's a coward. He want to go to a certain place where he have protection. But the people in the red car that he got into it with, that got in the car, was his girlfriend's people. And they were in a different gang. But they knew him because they were opposition. But he started working with them. It's like, look, dude, you sell this diesel, dude, you're gonna be making $8,000 a week. You know, they telling him what he gonna be making. He already using because they were pushing heavy drugs. So now he's trying to say the other gang, the one he's mad at, they were pushing the heavy drugs. So he throwing all this dirt on them, talking about here's the gun and such used, and the people that got shot, he did it. Talking about the guy who brought him in, taught him everything, helped him get some money in his pocket. He went and told on him and tried to plant all this stuff on him and lies. And he went to court. And they brought him in. He went to trial and they got him on the court. And they said, look, we already caught you. When we came to arrest you, we went to your house. We found 3, 4 illegal pistols, serial number scratched off. And we already got you for that. We can get you with intent to distribute. We got you with a couple of pounds up in here. And he was like, that's not pounds. He's like, that's just a few, like that's a QP. That's nothing. So they were talking about we can give you 20 to 40 years, or you could just we can give you 15 months, or you can get 20 years. He was like, what, 20 years for this? He was like, yeah, you can get about 20 years per gun. We can give you 10 years a gun. You could really be looking at 40, but you're going to end up doing 20 easy. He's like, you better hope none of these guns got any bodies on them. Because if they do, we're going to match the bullets, do ballistics. You're going down, so we're going to match it up. And sure enough, the guy was matched up, one of the guns, and they said, yeah, this matches up. This gun was used to kill this Spanish guy or shoot this guy. He's dead. This is the gun that did it. This gun has probably got 2 murders on it already. So now you should have played ball. So the guy was like, you know what? Because we don't like this guy that's telling on you. We know he's lying. Give us something right now. We'll make sure you get 90 months because you got to do some time. The guy's like, you got to do some time. So you can take your chances and go to trial, or just give us 90 months. Tell on these guys, I'll make sure you get 90 months. We'll put it in writing. So he talked to his lawyer. His lawyer was like, take the deal. Give them somebody that's irrelevant. Give up the dude that's ratting on you and just give them one other name. And you good. You at home. In 90 months, he's like, dude, 90 months, dog, you could do 90 months. The lawyer's like, you could do 90 months, man. At least you get to come home. Or you're going to go to trial. He's like, going to trial. Just like that, going to trial. Told them, my client, the lawyer was disappointed. The lawyer's like, he wants to go to trial. So he goes to trial. They got the judge, everything. They present the evidence. The lawyer's telling him, like, man, they are going to slam you for this. And the guy he's a murderer. He's in there testifying against him and everything. He's a murderer. He told me to shoot at somebody with one of the guns. I don't even know what kind it was. And he had me shoot the guy. And I'm trying to tell you, I don't know if he lived or died. He's a murderer. He's the mob boss. Oh my gosh. He did all this craziness. And all of this happened when they stopped focusing on hustling in the right way. Now, his mistake was having everybody come to his house, people leaving guns in his house and all this stuff. He don't even know most of that stuff was there. But because he hangs out with the gangs and they all come over there play video games, people got guns. They just putting it all through the house. And that's why his girl was like, you could just tell on some of these dudes. You'll be home in 90 months. You got a family. You got to provide for your family. How long is 90 months? Add that up. It's 12 months in a year. Yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, he didn't give up anybody. He didn't take a plea deal. He went to trial. He was found guilty as the gun was used in a shooting death. A person ended up dying because of the gunshot, and one of the guns was found, and he was the person found with it, and it was on his property and his person. He was charged for that, and he went to court for that gun, for that case that they charged him for. So he had like about 15 felonies he was facing. So he ended up doing 25 to life for a murder that he did not commit. Still serving time, 25 to life, still doing appeals, and want a new trial. All those other guns, they went to try to see if there was any more bodies on them. I don't think they found anything out yet because I didn't keep up with the rest of it. And the guy that he's somewhere out of jail, he served less than a couple of months in some type of fairway house or whatever. So they got him in like someplace in Boise, Idaho, somewhere. And that's how the cookie crumbles. So the moral of this is hustle the right way. He was making $4,000 a week without being involved in no drugs and anything else. Because of his affiliation with his gang member buddies and hanging out with them, and they coming over to his house disrespectfully. He got a wife there or his girl, I don't know if they're married or not, and they got a kid, and you got them bringing guns with them, on them, coming in your house. He was this close to getting killed. And then the people that came to kill him, well, the guy that he ended up dying. And because he was loyal, he didn't snitch on nobody. He didn't point nobody out. He's like, I can't do that. He ended up getting 25 to life. 25 years to life. He could have had 90 months in jail. And now he's got 25 to life for going to trial. He wasn't gonna snitch. It wasn't in him. Now his wife or his girl, she's pissed. She's pissed. She is fighting with the lawyers to try to get him to sign a paper, and they trying to do the appeal. And they saying people come over the house, they have guns. None of those guns were his. She is livid. They had check stubs, and the day that person was murdered, he was working. They still convicted him. They omitted all the evidence. He was like, the day that guy was shot, I was at work. So he went and got a pay stub. He went and got a letter from the boss, everything to say, look, I wasn't even there when it happened. I don't need the guy who got shot. And he was like, man, for his family, I hope they did that. But he's like, I'm trying to get a new trial. So he's trying to get a new trial. But he did not snitch. He didn't tell on nobody. Now, here's the kicker. He's been in there for, what, 4 years? 3 years? 3.5 now? I think about 3.5. Well, let's just say his gang hasn't been supporting him. His baby mom, his girl, she's spending all her money trying to help get him, pay the lawyer, keep everything together, kid. She's really been doing everything. So I commend her for, that's a very tough job. A lot of stress. So if you missed any of this, take it back and get caught up. Now ask yourself, would you have told? Or if you don't want to say it in here, you can tell me when you click the link in the description box and leave a donation. And you can leave a message and tell me over there. I'll definitely check it out. So this will definitely be in the playlist for the hood stories. So you can watch all of those and get caught up. It's your boy Carcino, and I'm out. And I'm going to bed. It's late. Good night.